All right, I got a slide and I have a clicker. We still call it a clicker. It's like that digital clock that Gary's mother has next to her nightstand. So let's talk about $1 billion blueprint. Tony asked me to put this presentation today, and I just wanted to start by saying, I asked him before coming up here, how many billion-dollar advisors and CEOs, Matt, CEOs, are here in the room with us today? He said about 15. So the majority of my presentation is going to be sharing best practices and things that I've heard and commonalities that I've seen from the most successful advisors that I've worked with. Those people that have personally built $1 billion practice. And when we come to these events like today, we all come here with the same objective. If I can walk away with 2 or 3 things that I think would benefit my practice, my team, and my clients, then I'll look at this as a successful event. So with $15 billion CEOs here in the audience sharing their secrets to success on stage with us, this presentation is going to be more about how do we get started. So if you were expecting a secret formula, a magic pill, or a plan that would outline exactly how you're going to get there to $1 billion or from $1 billion to $5 billion, I'm going to let you know up front that that's not going to happen. So I want to just say, first of all, thank you. Thank you to the people that have shared, that will share this afternoon, and for all of us, myself included. I think the most important thing today in thinking about that path to $1 billion, $5 billion, or $10 billion is taking some notes and writing down some of the things that some of our colleagues are here sharing today. So first I wanted to start out and go over the conventional wisdom. So conventional wisdom in this business, what we've heard throughout our careers is you've got to get small to get big. So at some firms that we've worked at, the only way to get to $1 billion to $5 billion to $10 billion, the largest practice I worked with had $26 billion under management. It was an incredible accomplishment. And they started that with an idea, but they had a relentless pursuit of execution and a service plan that was quite remarkable. But the conventional wisdom always told us, you've got to get rid of your small clients. Get rid of your D book, your C book, then your B book, and focus on your A book. Look at the $25 million plus ultra high net worth client, then go up market, focus on the $100 million clients. One day you'll get a billionaire, and then you'll soon be there. Get your business down to 25 clients. That's the right number, and we've heard that a lot. And yet, I've seen a lot of practices thrive and develop and continue to grow without compromising service to their clients, but they've done pretty much the opposite. So we're going to talk about that and why that's possible. Some of the other conventional wisdom we've heard, in addition to moving up market, is buy books. Now that's not going to change. Acquiring practices, acquiring the right practice, is critically important in the strategy for growth. So that's conventional wisdom, and I think still is going to carry weight moving into the future, no matter what happens in the transformation and disruption of this business. And the last thing, some people have said, in addition to buying books, maybe I'm just going to inherit books. But that really, that not having a plan is not a plan. So when you think about what people have in common, what I've heard today and what I prepared this presentation for was the work ethic. So my own observation, and you've heard some people share it here today, is that, yes, you have to have balance. Absolutely. Balance is critical, and balance comes by building a team, but the right team of highly skilled people that have complementary skill sets, personalities, and that can contribute to the growth of your practice, leveraging your time to spend it where it's most productive. I thought the team that came up here from RBC, they did a great job in talking about how they looked at the value of their time and measured in what is my time worth and had a dollar sign attached to it. And that's an important thing to do when looking at your time and how you spend it. Every successful team has a playbook, but it's not, I'm going to get professional golfers or musicians. I'm going to work with business managers or one CPA, and that's how I'm going to grow my business. It's more of a process playbook. It's covering everything that they're going to be doing, from their advice to clients, from education planning, from family governance, through managing wealth, but both sides of the balance sheet, as you heard several people talk about up here today. But there's a comprehensive plan for how they're going to serve all of the financial needs, and answer every question a client has with a dollar sign attached to it. So that's an important part, and one thing that many billion-dollar advisors have in common, a process playbook. Everyone is a highly effective team. Everybody you've heard so far and everybody you will hear come up to talk about their success and how they made it, they all put together a highly effective team. And everyone that I've seen is invested in their team and very, very selective about who's on the team, what role they have, and the function that they provide. One other thing that I noticed is that everybody on that team is singing from the same sheet of music. They all know their purpose, they know their clients extremely well, and everyone on the team can articulate that value proposition that the lead advisor is speaking with clients and prospects about every day. Consistency and predictability, in addition to that relentless focus on execution, is probably the most important thing that we've seen, that I've personally seen and that you're going to hear today. So that predictability in a practice, when you think about every one of your clients, is everyone having the same experience? Is everybody going to have the same service expectations? If I have clients at $100 million and clients with $10 million or clients with $500,000, will they get the same level of service? Will they experience the same thing from my team? They may not be speaking to the lead person, the CEO of the team. They may be speaking to a relationship manager. They may be speaking to an assistant. They may be speaking to a portfolio manager. But the consistency of that service is important for every successful team in that growth journey. And lastly, it's deep personal relationships with our clients. You've heard some of the people talk about these wonderful client experiences. Those client experiences, they build the relationships with the clients. They deepen those relationships. The relationships, as they deepen, we've all seen this through COVID. We got a lot closer to our clients by asking simple questions like, how's your family? How's your health? Reaching out and speaking to them. We all increased our level of frequency, and as a result of that, we had deeper relationships. And deeper relationships build trust and allow us to demonstrate competency. So the CEOs who built the billion-dollar practices all have deep personal relationships with their clients. And they work very hard on ways to solidify those relationships and ways to reach out, non-traditional ways, in addition to you're going to get this many calls, this many quarterly reviews, you'll get this many emails, you'll get market updates. In addition to that, they're curating events for their clients that allow them to have broader reach. And they're having fun, which is a really important thing. And lastly, you'll hear from everyone here on the stage and everybody you speak to in a breakout. Every good CEO invests retained earnings to grow the business. They don't spend it. They don't look for other people to invest it. They think strategically, how can I invest my retained earnings in my practice to grow, to achieve the next level of growth? And that's critically important. That is a CEO mindset. How can I look, it's management effectiveness 101. How can I look to invest in my practice personally to drive greater results, to get greater scale? So that's a critically important thing, that CEO mindset. And Matt, I had this written before your presentation today, so I just want to say it was nice to hear that, but that's something that I've heard from just about every successful advisor and CEO that's built a practice of that size. So the next point I wanted to make, how do we get there? And when you begin with examining the foundation of your practice, take a look, it's an assessment of where you are today. Where am I? Every journey, you need a starting point as well as a destination. So I'd suggest whatever level you're at, if you're at $1 billion looking to get to 10 or 25, it's possible. If you're at 100 million looking to get to 250 or 500 million, it's possible. But you have to start with examining your practice today. So is it possible to double my assets under management? Of course it is. You'll hear a number of people here today talk about it. You probably have people in your own personal circle of influence that have done it, perhaps in another business. Do I have the right people on my team in the right roles? So you can have highly intelligent, successful people on your team, but if they're doing the wrong thing, they're not going to contribute to the growth of your team. In fact, they're going to inhibit it. So think about, are they in the right roles? And is there consistency in our advice and service? Can I say confidently that every one of my clients is receiving a similar experience? From my team, from me personally, of course, but what about my team? Do they have the same level of service no matter who they interact with on my team? And is that consistent and predictable across my entire book of clients? What's the value proposition? As I said earlier, can everyone on the team articulate the value proposition as well as you? If they're approached by a client or a prospect, tell me what you do, who do you work for, what is it that you do there? Are they able to articulate it as well as all of you? And then lastly, what do our clients need and expect from us? So this one is interesting. How do we really know what our clients need and expect from us? We ask them. So several people have set up client advisory board meetings, which I think is a very clever way to get your best clients in a room, take them out to dinner and say, you're all successful professionals, you're all valued clients, you're my first-class cabin of my business. Tell me what it is that we do well. Tell me what you like from us, tell me what you dislike from us. What do you expect from us? And you'll see that a lot of the successful teams will be able to deliver to prospects an expectations deck. You become a client of ours, and here's what you can expect from us, consistently, predictably, without fail. We'll answer every one of these needs, address every one of these questions. This is how we'll serve you. So then you think about next and looking at your foundation, what can we improve? And MBD is an acronym that I've heard from somebody in the past, and I like it. It stands for more, better, different. We're always looking at our business and thinking about how we can improve. It's continuous improvement that contributes to our ongoing success. So take the time to look at your business and say, what can we be doing as a team more of? What can we do better? And what can we do differently to increase our growth and our level of service to clients? What resources are available to us? You know, there's resources that you have here in this room, someone sharing the best practices of what they've done. You have resources available at your firm, at your custodian. You have resources available in each other. We had a dinner last night, and I got to tell you, just listening to some of the other executives that are here attending this conference, some of the things that they're doing, and they're very open and transparent, sharing their success and some of their approaches to the business. I become better at what I do just in listening and thinking, how can I do that? How would that benefit my business? And it's the same for all of us. So just listening to some of the people here and thinking about how we can improve, that's a resource. You have resources in your firm. You have an incredible list of resources in your vendors. You heard the Goldman Sachs story up here just before I got up. You've heard a few other people. And you're thinking about how am I going to approach the other side of the balance sheet? The two-pocket analogy is a real good one. The follow-up conversation, tell me everything that you have that can benefit my team. What resources do you have in training and education? It's not funding. Sometimes the resources are beyond capital. It's important. But beyond that, they have resources available for all of you. Your firm has resources available for all of you. And you have to take advantage of that and put it to work for your practice. The last thing I wanted to talk about, and I want to wrap this up because Tony told me I have about 3 minutes to get back on track here, was I wanted to talk a little bit about Metcalfe's Law. So Metcalfe's Law, it's a simple principle. Value results from the connectivity between users, enabling them to work together to achieve more than they could alone. Now that sounds like an argument for a team, right? Build a team, get a lot bigger, but it also applies to your clients as well. Then we all know Murphy's Law, right? There's a U.S. Air Force captain, Edward Murphy, who said anything that's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong. So applying Metcalfe's Law with the power of connectivity across a team of highly skilled people overcomes Murphy's Law every time. That's going to happen in our practice. If something is going to go wrong, it will go wrong. Whether it's the market, whether it's the economy, whether it's an erosion of consumer sentiment, maybe it's somebody on your team gets ill and can't fulfill their role. Something is going to go wrong, but thinking about that and applying Metcalfe's Law is important. You think about your clients. How is that going to benefit your clients? Building more clients, and as I said before, what if it's possible that getting bigger, instead of getting smaller, is going to help you grow? And I think particularly today, with everything that we're seeing with the transformation of our business, we talk about a digital economy and a digitally enabled tech stack, it's important to think about how that's going to apply to your business. We all know that assets equal resources. So you have greater buying power, you have the greater opportunity to reinvest in your business, and all of your clients benefit from your practice getting larger. The second thing that you have is an ecosystem. You have a client base, whether you're serving a specific niche or vertical. Let's say you're focusing on corporate executives, or you're focusing on family law, you're focusing on business managers. Whatever it might be, you could have an M&A vertical or a specialization. Getting those people together in one of those shared experiences, creating a network or an ecosystem within your practice is going to benefit all of your clients. And then sometimes you have complementary services. When I worked in the past at a large trust bank, and you heard First Republic get up and speak earlier about some of their services, very impressive. But some of the things that they're doing for their clients at the larger banks, the complementary services, such as family governance and college counseling. One of the most important meetings I've ever attended, we had a client with $1.5 billion, and I asked the spouse of the patriarch of the family, matriarch, and I said to her, she was sitting in the back of the room, and I said, a lot of people are here for this RFP. A lot of people are telling you everything they can do. What are you worried about? What keeps you up at night? What do you want to hear? And she looked at me and said, I want to hear how my kid's going to get into college. That's all I want to hear. I mean, all of this is really important for all of you and for other people, but I said, I have 4 children. So believe me, I understand how that's important. So why don't we set up a second meeting, and we'll come back with an education planner. Now, it wasn't anybody in Southern California. We didn't even get involved in any of that, thankfully. But we set up a simple meeting with an education planner, a service, an outside vendor that we paid for, that sat down and said, here's how to get your child into a college, a really good college, and gave her a personalized assessment. That RFP, that pitch was over before it started, because it was just a simple complementary service that we offered outside of every one of the wealth management issues we normally focus on. So your clients also benefit from growth. The growth of your practice brings more resources, brings more to them, it brings a broader network, so growth is good. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, the last slide that I have, the last page, is really a summary of everything that we've talked about so far. So where do you start? You start with your foundation. Build your foundation, understand what your clients want and need from you, document what they can expect from your practice. Having a deck that you can hand clients and prospects and say, this is what you can expect from us. Some of the COIs that you work with in the local community, your estate planning attorneys, your CPAs, giving them that information and saying, here's what you can expect from our team, it's powerful. And include things like financial planning, estate planning, not just what you do well, but everything. Liquidity management, everything that they need to know, you can deliver it. Define the team roles and responsibilities for everyone, a client service matrix, your approach to the business, and make sure that there's consistency. And incentivize your team. Align the incentives with the goals. If you want to be a $1 billion practice, if you want to be a $5 billion practice, you have to give them purpose to understand how their role will contribute to that vision and align their personal compensation, the incentive compensation, with hitting the milestones on the way to the goal. You'll grow a lot faster, a lot quicker when you have everybody on your team aligned with their self personally to achieve your goal. The second piece there, as you can see it, is design your floor plan. So if you think about a blueprint, once you have your foundation strong, you have to think about your floor plan. So you have a client experience. What does it look like right now? What does your office look like? What is your presence? Do you have an intentional brand that you control on social media, your digital presence, your landing page? Do you have a purpose-driven communication? If you think about digital enablement we talked about before, one of the things we're doing at our firm is we've defined if you think about an imaginary slide and you had an arc of the client experience, there's about 14 different points along that arc. Starts with prospecting, identification, it ends with generational wealth transfer, but it doesn't end there. It goes right back to the beginning when the money moves to G2 or G3, and it starts all over again. We're looking at how do we digitally enable every point along that arc of the client experience and the client journey with every one of our advisors. The digital enablement is important because it's going to allow us to really provide scale and offer our services to a greater amount of clients. Also think about what I call front stage and backstage space. Whether your office is in a WeWork, or it's in a beautiful building, or it's in a high-rise here in Manhattan, what does it look like? Does your front stage space something that your clients would enjoy? Your backstage space is fine. You can have your office there. Tony's loves the term the ego barn. I think we've all gotten away from that, and we've moved and invested our time in the front stage space, putting the luxury and the experience in front of the client. When a client walks into your office, what do they see? Are they getting paper in a styrofoam cup, or do they have china? And I know many of us have controlled that already, but every once in a while it's important to stop and see the client experience, your front stage space, through the lens of the client. And as I said before, leveraging your internal and external partners is really important. Delivering outstanding service at 10x your current level, that's going to happen through the digital enablement and the coordination of your team having the right people in the right places. So the goal here, simple, build a strong foundation under your practice. Whether you're already at $2 billion, you're at $10 billion, or you're at 200 or 100 million, and you want to start your journey to build a bigger practice. Take a look at your foundation to prepare for growth. Some people see $1 billion as a validation threshold. Others see it as a goal that they'll one day achieve. The bottom line is, if you put a plan in place and you think about your practice and you never hit $1 billion, nobody's going to fault you for getting to 700 million or 300 million. You're going to have a better practice, your clients will have a better experience, and we'll have a better life. So set an aspirational goal out there. Take a day off. I heard it twice so far this morning. Take a day off to work on your practice. Go to a nice hotel. Take your notes from this meeting, from all the billion-dollar producers that'll get up here, everything that you wrote down and took away. Think about your practice. Think about what you can do more of, better, or differently. You can afford it. Go to a nice hotel, spend some time by yourself to work on your business, and think about the future of your practice, whether you have the right people in the right roles. And finally, if you just take everything you've learned here today, you think about what you can do more of, better, or differently in your practice, and you build some relationships in the hallway with some of the people that have spoke up here today, you're all going to grow. So congratulations for coming to the conference. I want to thank all of our winners, our billion-dollar producers, and everybody else that was recognized here by Advisor Hub. And thank you very much for your time.